right, welcome back to Rohrich Knows Podcast. I'm Dr. Rohrich. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon in Dallas, Texas, helping you become a better and more informed you. So today, let's talk to one of my amazing patients, Andrea Fox Downing. And of course, she's amazing. We met a year and a half ago, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, she is a native Texan. She's of former Miss USA, Texas,
United States.
Texas, United States, 2018.
Yes.
And she heads an empowerment group. It's just phenomenal, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So, Andrea, let's get into it. So okay, you're a native Texan. So you grew up in East Texas in Longview.
Yes. So I grew up on a ranch, about 65 acres, a little outside of Longview in the White Oak Gladewater area. It's my grandparents' ranch. So. Country girl to my heart, so I love it. Horseback riding, all those things, cows, the green. I love it.
No, I know. You got to follow her on Instagram too. And actually, I grew up on a ranch and a farm in North Dakota. It's a little colder, and we rode horses there too. Yes, but I haven't ridden a horse in a long time. But I like the warm weather. Why do you think I live in Texas?
Right.
So what drove you? And then obviously, you became Miss Texas USA. So tell us about that journey. I mean, God, you grew up in a small place. I mean, I grew up in a small place too, like 200 people. But so what drove you? What was your vision when you were growing up?
So what's funny is I always said that I was either going to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader or an FBI agent because I love shooting guns. And so I was like, I'm going to be either one of those. I didn't end up being either. I tried out for DCC one year and I didn't make it. So I just wanted to say that I tried out. So that was it. But I never pictured myself being a pageant girl. We had Miss Craig County when I was in high school, which I got voted to compete in that. But I didn't, it was just kind of like, oh, this is fun, and then that was it. And then I went to college, and I cheered in college, and then I played for a women's football team. So I played full contact tackle football. I played wide receiver and free safety.
You're kidding.
Yeah, so it was so much fun. So much fun.
Where was that?
In East Texas. So we were the first East Texas team. We didn't even last a full season because we didn't have the funding because, it's like women's football. Because we weren't like the sexy one, with like the lingerie and stuff. We were like full pads and just looked very aggressive. So the people, they didn't really understand it. So we didn't even make it a full season, but it was a really cool experience. But I remember getting in my Pontiac Firebird, and I put my pads in the front seat, and I got a notification on Facebook from a director of the Miss Northeast Texas pageant, and she was like, I really want you to come and compete. And I was like, oh, okay. So started competing, and throughout my pageant career, I competed for 6 years. I got I made top 15 at Miss Texas USA, which is a super, super competitive one. Texas. And then I aged out. So in the United States system at the time, you could only compete, back when I was in it, till you were like 26 or 27. Oh. And so I aged out. And so then I started looking at other systems because I was like, I'm not done competing. Like, I want to win Miss Texas. And so the only other system that I really lacked was the United States system, and you can compete till you're 29. And so overall, over 6 years, I got first runner-up 9 times in different pageants. So I went to the Texas United States system, and I placed first runner-up 3 years in a row at Miss Texas United States. And so I always said, if you follow football, I was the Buffalo Bills of pageantry because I just kept losing at the Super Bowl. And the joke was like, if you want to win Miss Texas, just compete against me because you'll probably win. Like, I'll be your first runner-up. And then I started dating my now husband, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to compete in my last year. And he was like, why not? And I was like, I'm a professional loser at this point. Like, I cannot win a pageant to save my life. I couldn't win Miss Northeast Texas. I couldn't win Miss Tarrant County. Like, I just wasn't winning. And he was like, I just don't want you to wake up when you're 45 and be like, I should have competed in that last year. Like, what if that last year was mine? And I went and competed and won. I won all the awards, like best in swimsuit, best interview, best evening gown, and then I placed top 10 at Miss United States. So
awesome. Well, good. Man, I think you married the right guy.
I know.
I think you married the right guy.
He believed in me a little bit more than I did in myself, so that worked out.
Well, that's great. And I guess that's what made you also help you become, do your nonprofit, right?
Yes.
Empowering women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really what started the journey, for sure.
Oh, good. Now, of course, we met about almost a year and a half ago, because did you DM me, I think, or you said, because you're getting married.
Yes.
Yes,
I DM'd you. I slid in your DMs. I sure did.
Yeah, and
shamelessly.
No, because you were getting married in like 6 months. And
yes.
I said, well, that's great, but I'll see you, because I'm like a book to year out. And then for some reason, it was like a godsend. I actually talked to my scheduler, and then somebody canceled, so I saw you.
Yeah, I came in for my consultation. Yeah. I walk out of the consultation. I go in to book the surgery, and she said, someone just called and canceled for Thursday. Can you come in on Thursday for the surgery? And I was like, yes, take my card.
It was unbelievable, because you were getting married in like 6 months.
Yeah.
And I said, because I had just consulted with you, and I said, well, we have to do it afterwards, but it's not going to happen. So we said, okay. And then I just show up and said, oh my God. So it was a godsend.
It really was. It was perfect. I mean, I was texting my husband in the schedule, like, they're not going to be able to get me in. I'm not going to be able to get it done before the wedding. And then she came in and said that. I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. This is great.
So anyway. No, so we did a rhinoplasty. So she's beautiful. So we did a rhinoplasty, and then here you are, a little over a year out, and actually, these pictures don't do you justice. Just take a look at her today. I mean, you look amazing.
Thank you.
So we straightened her nose, softened it, shaped it, just made her nose match her beautiful face, and it's awesome. I mean, that is a rock star view right there.
I mean, you're super talented, and that's why I'd been wanting to get my nose done for a while. But it's like, it's your face, right. Like you can't just go to whoever. I mean, you go get your boobs done, get a top 10 doctor, you're probably going to be good. If you don't like them, put a bra on, you're going to be fine. But your nose, that's your face. And so I was like, I'm not just going to anyone. And then I came across your Instagram, and it was like, well, actually, that's a lie. I Googled #1 rhinoplasty doctor in the nation, and I was expecting to see LA, and it popped up Dr. Drrodrohrich, Dallas, Texas. I was like, hallelujah, this is amazing. And then that's when I slid in your DMs.
Oh, that's great. Well, anyway, it was actually, I guess, meant to be. But anyway, so then 6 months later, right, you got married.
I did, yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's phenomenal. And here you are, a year later. That's great. Well, that's great. So anyway, that's how I met Andrea. But I like people that are positive, that give back, and have great karma. And Andrea has all those. So tell us about what you do. Like, what's your average normal day? Because I actually I DM'd her because I said, would you mind coming on? And this was like last weekend, right? Mm-hmm. And then I looked at you, and you were out in East Texas. You were riding horses. I said, well, forget that. And then yesterday, you said, hey, I can do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So what's your average day like?
It's different every day. I don't really have a set schedule that I do every single day. It just really depends on what's requiring my attention that day. I mean, so since we host events out in Longview, I'm out there some with my family, but I make sure that I prioritize Bible study in the morning and then gym time. And outside of that, as long as I get those two things check marked, I'm like mentally in a good place. And so it really just depends on the day. This week has been absolutely insane. I mean, you said it, you were like, I'm trying to lock you down. And you're all over the place. But then there's some weeks that it's a lot slower, and I can spend more time learning. My goal is to invest in a handful of small businesses over the next 3 years. And so I've been taking courses over that. And so, I went and spoke at the Limitless Expo a couple weeks ago, which is like a real estate financial freedom. And there were, on to me about why I hadn't acted on a lot of the things that I said I wanted to do. And a lot of it is fear-based. I just think a lot of times I'm like, oh, but why, how can I do that? Like me, like I can do that. And so they really spoke a lot of life into me, and that's why your circle is just so important, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be as brave as I am. And so, I take those courses, and then I work on my nonprofit and set up meeting with funders and all that stuff. So
that's great. You can see and feel the positivity, and I think that's great. I mean, you're in a stair step to greatness, and I really think that's positive. So I mean, I think, and also you're a good role model for women that want to really succeed. And I think, you know, you really surround yourself with people that are as good or better than you, and then you become better. I mean, I've learned that, you know, medicine's no different. You know, I actually had great mentors in my life. I was very fortunate to be at Michigan and Harvard and Oxford, and I had great mentors. And, you know, I appreciate that, and I'm giving back just like you are. I mean, it's really important to do that. And, you know, so few people do that. And I think that's really fantastic. So what drives you? I mean, you know, everything hasn't been a total success. I mean, you've had some challenges in your life that actually brought you today to where you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I do believe that experiences really make us who we are, and they shouldn't be something that's like, oh, woe is me, I went through this, like you should feel sorry for me. You know, I've mentioned to you before that I had a stalker in college, and he stalked me for 6 months, and the police didn't really do anything about it. I wasn't aware that it's not illegal to follow someone around as long as you don't speak to them, write them a letter, or touch them. They can follow you around all they want. I wasn't aware of that law. And so, you know, there was not a ton of protection that could have been provided there. No knock on the police. There's no law that he was breaking. And so, he assaulted me on a college campus in broad daylight. And so I am a big proponent of women being able to defend themselves. I know a lot of women aren't comfortable doing that, but I think it's really important that we exercise our Second Amendment right and
thank God
are
for
able,
Texas.
amen, and are able to, you know, go places. And it's not that, you know, I need to hold it in my hand all the time. It's just a comfort of if a large man, because the man that assaulted me was over 300 pounds, he was 6'2". Like, he's a very large man. I couldn't physically fight him off. And so, you know, a week before I was assaulted, my mace on my keychain was confiscated as well, because it was considered a weapon on campus. And so there's just not a ton of protection in that area, but, you know, it's really taught me to be a lot more vigilant. And I think a lot of women in my organization can also relate to me a lot more, because a lot more women have been sexually assaulted than they like to admit. And anytime that I've ever shared that story, I have, you know, a handful of women come up and say something similar happened to me in college, but I've never talked about it.
Wow. They
feel embarrassed. It's a very, you know, there's still kind of like a stigma behind it. Like, how'd you allow this person to do that? Why didn't you fight back? Like, so I just think it's really important to talk about those things. And then, you know, I was in a car accident, as I told you, about 6 years ago. And I always relied on my memory. I had a really good memory. And so that was something, my IQ, in a sense, I relied on that. Like, I could look at something and really remember it. And having that injury and having short-term memory issues, you have to relearn how to learn. Like, my old way of learning was gone. Like, I couldn't remember anything. It was really scary, because I would tell my husband a story, I would walk out of the room, I'd come back, and I'd tell him the exact same story. And I know half the time he wouldn't point it out to me, because it would scare me every time I wouldn't remember that I told him. And especially, I was 20-something at the time, or 30 at the time. And so to be so young and be experiencing that was really difficult. And so I think those experiences, though, help me relate to the women in my community a lot more. And they feel comfortable talking to me about things. I have women come up to me and cry to me at the end of the event and say that they feel welcome and they feel loved, and thank you for creating this space. So as long as I can just use that as like a relatability to pull women in and help them to know that they're not alone in this journey, then, I mean, if that's what I had to go through for that experience to help other people, then it is what it is.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Well, Andrea, true proud Texan. I love what you said. I mean, you're the spirit of positivity, of giving back, and you are destined to great things. So remember Andrea Fox Downing. She's amazing. And she's the CEO of Women Already Connected, and will help you get to exactly what that group does. And actually, if you like this, I have another podcast that's just about Women Already Connected, featuring Andrea Fox Downing, and stay tuned. It's going to be amazing. So leave us your thoughts and comments, and until next time, stay empowered, stay safe, and stay educated. Thank you.